Hello artists, Mrs. Kellogg here, and welcome back to my Art at Home video series. Today I'm going to show you how to draw from life. Now you're probably wondering, what do you mean we're drawing from life? So today we're going to go out into my garden and I'm going to show you how we can draw from plants, trees, whatever you have in your yard or at a park or in your neighborhood. Let me show you some examples that I hope will inspire you. Okay, so this is a sketch of a tree. So as you notice, I'm really focused on our elements of art, line and shape, just sketching that. Now, a lot of times I love doing these garden sketches. Drawing, this one for example was from a sunflower that was about to open up. So I started it by sketching it from life and then I later added paint to it. And then this next piece over here, I've got my dog Owen here. He's helping me out with our introduction to our lesson today. And this big painting that I wanted to show you actually started off from a sketch that I did of some succulents out in my yard, and then I turned it into a big painting. Now the other thing to remember is, okay, there's my dog Owen drinking. So here, remember, you can draw from life and then use your imagination to make an interesting piece of art as well. So now, let's go outside to my garden and I'm going to tell you what materials we'll use for this art lesson. Okay, did you get your materials? Great. Okay, so the first part of this lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on that element of art, shapes. Okay, so we're going to focus on shape, and what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you to go out in your yard or in your neighborhood, or it could even be you're going over to the park with your family to go on a scavenger hunt. And not just any scavenger hunt, a shape scavenger hunt. So I'm going to show you in my own garden how you can do that. So let's zoom into, this is called a Banksia plant. And if you notice, as I'm looking at these leaves right here, we've got a lot of triangular shapes. Okay, so I'll show you some of the bigger ones up here. So this is one of my favorite plants, and what I noticed today was I got this really great bloom. So if you look at that shape and you think two-dimensional, it almost looks like, I'm just going to hold these back, whoops, and see how it almost looks like kind of half of an oval shape, but again, it's three-dimensional, so from that half oval shape, it goes into that cylinder look. Okay, so let's take a look. So we've got that idea of a triangle, and again, I'm thinking, you know, there's part of an oval there. I start looking for two-dimensional shapes. So here, over here, this pretty purple plant, we've got some nice triangles here. You can see another one right here when I hold it open. Makes that nice triangular shape. Okay. And then over here, this plant is a protea, and if you notice, this has long, skinny ovals. So when you're drawing from life, the main thing you want to look for are not so much the veins in the beginning. You don't want to look at you look at those, but you want to look for the big shape first. Get that in, and then you would put the detail in. Okay, and then I'm going to move over to this other plant. So this is also an oval, but a different kind of oval. So this is called a smoke tree, and it has this beautiful kind of burgundy color. So see how I'm going through my garden, and again, it's like a scavenger hunt. I'm trying to find all of these shapes and really study these plants. Now look at the stem. You can see how I could use a rectangle to draw that. And then if you remember from the other lessons, by using value, that idea of the light shade, the medium shade and dark shade, or just a light and dark shade, that's what's going to give it the cylinder look. Okay, so again, I start off with those flat two-dimensional shapes, and then through detail and value, I'll make it start looking more three-dimensional. So that's what you want to do. You want to continue going through your yard and trying to find these big shapes in your plants, your trees, your flowers. I'm going to hop over to here. This is called a Jerusalem tulip, but look at the shapes in the Jerusalem tulip. They're stars. And so again, you know, you want to start off keeping it simple, just the big simple shapes, and then adding the detail. And when you have so many things to choose from, that's why artists will start with those big shapes and they build their drawing. Okay, so now it's your turn to either go out into your yard and have your own scavenger hunt, looking for those big shapes in plants or trees. And if you're inside, you could even look out your window and see what kind of plants and trees are outside and see how many shapes you can find in trees, plants, or flowers. And another fun thing is if you're taking just a family walk in the neighborhood, you could look for these shapes. And it's fun if you could bring your paper and your pencil and you could sketch these shapes. Okay, so I hope you had fun going on your shape scavenger hunt. And that you were able to really study the shapes and some different plants. So now I'm going to draw from life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this plant as my inspiration. So you can tell my focus is going to be an oval shape. Okay, so I'm going to work from the top to the bottom. Okay, and the key thing to think about is I want to draw what's closest to me first. So I'm going to start at the top, and I'm drawing, if you notice, the shapes that are closest to me. Okay, so I'm going to start there. And it's okay to draw line over line, shape over shape. You can always pull a lot of these lines out after. So see how I draw those first and then I kind of fill in the background as I go. And I'm just going to keep going and building my drawing. So see, and I also look at the space in between. See how this in between is a triangle? So I look for that. And you probably remember from when I taught you and came around and taught lessons in your class that we talked about negative space, that space in between, for example, these flower petals, and then there's my positive space, is that actual shape of the flower petal. Okay, so now I'm going to keep continuing. So I see that, I'm going to draw that. Oh, now you probably hear my cat Gilda coming out. She's got an opinion about everything.
So see how I drew through things, and then all I have to do is erase that out. Oh my gosh, my cat is very noisy. I hope that doesn't bother you. Gilda, I'm drawing right now. Okay. And see how I'm drawing what's closest to me first, and then I'm filling it in. Okay, and I'm just gonna keep going. My cat's trying to jump up in my lap while I'm drawing. Sometimes it is challenging drawing outside. You have all these little things happen. So now, there's my cat. So I'm gonna stop here, and then I'm gonna continue drawing. So choose a plant that you like in your yard, or again, if you visit a park with your family and you see a plant, or even like you could even sketch from life. I could sketch my cat that you would like, and start drawing. So again, a couple of really important tips: draw what's closest to you first, and then keep your eyes more on the actual plant that you're drawing. Okay, so now I finished drawing the protea, and I've got all my big shapes in. So I outlined this in ultrafine marker so you could see it a little bit better, but if you look at the lower part, that's what it looks like if you were to do it in pencil. Okay, so now it's time to use value. Okay, so remember, I'm going to use some of these light and medium shades next to each other. I don't want to put the medium shade next to the medium because then my shapes would disappear, so I'm going to try to stick with this light, meaning the white of the paper, and then the medium. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay, so I'm going to come over here, and I notice this is going to cover a little bit of that plant. So that might, or that petal, so that might be a little bit darker. And then you could always wrap your finger in tissue paper for blending, or you could just use your hand. And see, I'm going to blend that up. And then maybe over in here, I see how it's overlapping. The bottom one might be more in shadow, just right on the edge. So notice, see, if I think the sunlight might be hitting it, I'm going to leave that open. And then I'm going to just blend that in with my finger. Remember, you can always put little highlights in with your eraser. So then I'm going to come over in this section, and then I'm just going to keep developing my plant. Now, a lot of times what I like to do when I am doing this, that I'm sitting in a chair looking at the plant, kind of looking to see those lights and darks. But just for filming's sake, it's easier for you to see how I'm doing that here on the table. Okay, so that is if you're drawing a plant from life. I want to give you another option though, because maybe you just want to take two shapes. Like for example, you see this this leaf, triangular leaf. I used that along with the oval, and I just used those two shapes, and I kept them off to the side, and then I sketched them in and overlapped them. So that's another idea. So you don't have to just draw a whole plant. If you don't want to do that, you can just take two of the shapes and then make an interesting plant design. So that's another option for you. Okay, so that is, I'm going to open my book up so you can see your two choices there. And, and again, use your own creativity, because you're going to come up with amazing ideas for your original life drawing project. So that's our lesson on drawing from life. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, when you're creating art, to relax, have fun, and keep creating.